And when Dave told me about the show, he said the theme was haunted. I was like, oh crap, I mostly write about food. I guess I could do like poems about Taco Bell, because that certainly haunts you after you eat it. And then the only thing I could think of was like, I guess when I was born in Mexico, and when we moved here, thank you, let's clap for Mexico! Because if you read the news, we are going through some shit right now. So, it's really crazy, and it makes me worried about my entire family. But when we first moved here, we lived in Oakland on Fruitvale Avenue. Oakland is amazing. A little dangerous back then, but it's okay. And we lived in this tiny one-bedroom apartment. We didn't have any money, so we slept on the floor. It was awesome, immigrant lifestyle. I was in 3rd grade, and I remember we finally, got a mattress one day, because we were friends with Mormons, and the Mormons were like, brown people, we need you! So they started like trying to convert us hardcore. And suddenly all these like young, tall Mormon men were like, hi, I'm Elder, really pretty white guy, you wanna hang out with me? And I was like, yes, please. Tell me about that planet. So they give us a mattress for Christmas, and we're like super happy because we finally have a mattress. So the 4 of us, my mother, my father, my brother, and I, who was like 3, I was 9, we started sleeping all in this mattress in the actual bedroom finally. And I remember we were really happy. We had like gone out to see a movie or something. We saw like, I don't know, Batman, the Michael Keaton one, and we're really happy. We came back and we celebrated by eating cheese and crackers because we were poor, but we didn't care. Cheese and crackers were amazing to an 8-year-old. And then we went to bed. And then I remember, this is for reals, from the wall-to-wall closet, we hear like a knock. And my mom's like, Pepe, ¿qué fue eso? My dad was like, oh fuck, I don't know. And then we hear another like, knock, knock, knock. And my mom's like, what the fuck was that? And I'm over here being like just terrified. My dad is like, it's a mouse. It's just a fucking mouse. And then I'm like, mice don't knock. And then my mom gets up and she's like, I think I need to see what it is. And my dad's like, get back in bed, it's nothing. Next night, we're sleeping in the same room, and we hear some like fumbling. Everyone's, it's like when you're about to go to sleep, you're like right about to fall asleep, and that's when it's like from the closet. So I like sit up and look towards the closet, and then my dad opens his eyes and he goes, it's nothing. It's a shitty apartment. Go to sleep. It's probably a cockroach. And then we hear like someone tripped and fell in there. So then my dad sits up and he's like, Rosa, párate. Rosa, ¿qué es eso? And my mom's like, what? And he's like, you should go look what's up with that closet. And my mom's like, I'm not looking at what the hell is up in that closet. You're the man. Sorry. It's 1989. It's sorry. You gotta go do that. And my dad was like, okay, kids, there's nothing wrong. It's probably just a rat. We're going to sleep now. But then the next day, my dad had like bags under his eyes because he hadn't slept. And I was like, why are you so tired? And he's like, I think I'm fucking scared of our closet. And I'm like, Dad, it's probably just a rat. And he's like, sure, whatever. And then, so the 3rd night we're sleeping. Everyone, like my brother's out in his diapers. I love that my brother just slept through this whole thing. Like he never cared. And he's just like, he's sleeping in there. And he's sleeping. I lay down next to him. My mom lays down. My dad lays down. We're getting ready to bed. She tells me a story. I'm like, cool. I like unicorns. Awesome. Because I did. And then my mom's like, we should pray so that whatever's in the closet doesn't haunt us tonight. My dad was like, there's nothing in the closet. I opened it during the day today. There's nothing in there. There is a little like hole in the corner though, so it was probably a mouse just jumping around looking for shit, okay? And my mom was like, you did? He's like, yeah, I did. She was like, all right, whatever. So we pray anyway. And we pray for all the angels to like look over us, because we used to be very Catholic. Even though my parents were like socialist atheists, being an immigrant scares the fuck out of you, so you just like grab onto like all of your like upbringing and your culture when you move to this country, I guess. So then we go to sleep, and I'm thinking about angels, And my mom tells me that, you know, ghosts don't exist, just angels that watch over you, when we hear more like coming from the closet. My mom's like, just go to sleep, but it's fine. More. And then my dad's like, this fucking mouse is really pissing me off. And then we hear like, what the fuck? My mom sits up, she's like, Pepe, I think there's something wrong. And my dad's like, there's nothing wrong. Okay, that sounded like a really loud knock. I was like, Dad, I feel like I'm going to pee my pants and cry forever. My mom is like, we should not have let you watch The Shining. You were way too young, but we're in our late 20s, and anyway, so then we hear like a very distinct knock. Like, not it maybe a knock, like a... My mom gets out of bed, starts putting her clothes on. My dad's like, Rosa, don't be ridiculous. And that's when we hear a little voice from the closet say, please let me out. My dad gets up, puts his jeans on, grabs my brother, who's still asleep. I'm not allowed to put anything on. She just makes, my mom's like, put your shoes on now. I put my shoes on, and we drive to the Denny's in Emeryville. The whole time, my parents are like looking around, they look at each other, then they look around again, and they're just like, what do we do? And my mom's like, I don't know, I am scared shitless. And I'm just like eating my waffles, going like, this is fun! I'm wearing Transformers PJs at the Denny's in Emeryville, and my parents are scared, and I'm terrified, but yay! And my brother's still fucking passed out, like on my mom's lap, he's passed out. So then, the next day, my mom invites someone to come and like cleanse the space, and she does a little cleansing. She was a woman from Peru, and then after a while, we just forget. We sleep in the living room, but we just forget about the ghost in the closet, and eventually we move to Albany, and eventually we have coffee with the landlord who was from El Salvador, who still lived in that apartment on Fruitvale in Oakland. And my mom told me that they were having coffee, and my mom told her, she was like, you know, there was a really silly thing that happened one night. We got scared shitless and drove to the Emeryville Denny's and basically spent the night there. And my mother's now friend, who was from El Salvador, was like, ay Dios mío, the people who lived there before you used to beat their little girl all the time. And when like she got too loud for them, they would put her in that closet. And I think one time she died. And my mother was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's awful and terrible. Oh my God. But now we live in El Cerrito, so it's like, no ghosts there. It's awesome. That's the end of that story. The end. How much time do I got left? I'm done? I can't, you're in the darkness right now. Can't see you. I can do a short one. So, all right, one last one. This one actually takes place in Mexico. My grandfather died before my grandmother did. And she, because of diabetes, unfortunately, became blind and then eventually could barely move. So when she started living with my Aunt Carmen, and she would just kind of sit there watching soap operas all day, which really annoyed my cousins because they couldn't see anything else. They couldn't see any soccer, they couldn't see shows or anything, and had to stay on soap operas. So it annoyed everybody but her gay grandson. I was super happy about this, because it meant I didn't have to go play with my cousins. It was just like, fuck you guys, I'm the only kid in Mexico. I'm really not. Back then I felt like I was the only kid in Mexico that didn't want to play soccer. I was like, we played that shit yesterday. You play it every day. You play it at school, and then you play it here after you're done with, before dinner. I don't understand. Then you play it at night. Oh my God, just leave me alone. I was just like, and so I'd be like, no, I'm gonna hang out with grandma. I'm gonna hang out with grandma. So just hang out with her, and I would watch her stories with her. And of course, because she was old, she would slowly fall asleep. It was fine. And sometimes she couldn't sleep well because of her back, so she would just sleep in front of her like big chair, in front of the TV in her big comfy chair. And some nights I would go in there with her to just kind of sit with her. And I remember one night it was really dark because it was night, everybody was asleep, and I couldn't sleep, so I went and sat in the living room with her. She was, in Mexico, I don't know if it still happens, but in the 90s, at the end of the day, they would have the Mexican like, you know, oh, well, yay, we're a country, here's our flag, and then like everything was white noise. Like it'd be like, whoa, we ran out of shit to do, and they would just stop, television would stop, like all the channels would stop, and it would just be like static. So at midnight that would happen, and my grandmother sometimes would end up falling asleep in front of the television with the white noise on. So I go and I'm like eating cereal, and I sit next to her just because I really loved her. And then the television goes from to like, it just starts like doing all this weird shit. And I'm just like looking at it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like Poltergeist. That was such a cool movie. But wait, that was a really scary movie. And it's like, and then out of nowhere, like in her sleep, my mother's like, yeah, Fidel, stop it. This is my grandfather's name, and then the television goes back to white noise. And I'm like, huh, that's scary. And then it goes back to like, and my grandmother goes, Fidel, please, oh, I get it. I know you still love me. God. And then it goes back to white noise. So I like look at my grandmother, I'm like, Grandma? And then she kind of like slowly wakes up, she's like, your grandfather won't leave me alone even in death. Keeps telling me I'm beautiful, and I'm like, shut up! I'm old. Let me rest. I thought you dying, man, I could finally get some rest. And I'm like, that's really beautiful. And she's like, no, it's a knowing. Thank you guys.